Today we talk designs, but not just any drawings. These are designs to determine the new Parliament building. We go in depth with the top 5 finalists. Plus, it's the start of National Parent Month, so we look at the theme, objectives and activities for the month. All that and more on Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for joining us.
What is the National Identification System? The new National ID will for the first time give Jamaicans one ID that is trusted and verifiable. This means easier access to government services like PATH and NIS. It will be easier to do business with the government and the private sector. Eventually, there'll be no need to walk with more than one ID. Support the new National ID. Get the facts at nidsfacts.com or on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at nidsfacts.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, November 1. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is insisting that schools must adhere to government's policies that restrict corporal punishment and removes mandatory auxiliary fees, particularly at the early childhood level. Mr. Holness points out that the Charter of Rights under the Constitution guarantees access to pre-primary education for all Jamaican children without any obligatory fees. He says government's position, therefore, is that any early childhood institution that receives government subvention must not charge a fee to students.
And as we move along this path, expanding infant schools, we will be fulfilling our constitutionally established obligation to the children of Jamaica to provide them with free pre-primary education.
At a function on Wednesday, the Prime Minister also argued against the practice of corporal punishment in early childhood institutions, saying it entrenches and legitimizes the use of unregulated force and violence.
We have been literally saying to our children, a slap is right. When that child leaves, then a kick is right, a stab is right, and then shooting is right. And it only takes one to create the violence and mayhem.
Prime Minister Holness was addressing the official handing over for the newly completed Jamaica-China Goodwill Infant School in West Central St. Andrew. It was completed in August and has a capacity for 180 students. The government-owned institution is one of 2 built with support from the Chinese government. The other is in St. Thomas. The Prime Minister, who is also Member of Parliament for West Central St. Andrew, also promised to begin work on the new Olympic Gardens police station later this month. In addition, he said land was being sought to build a facility for golden agers in the constituency. In the meantime, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is seeking to assure citizens that Jamaica's sovereignty is being protected in all dealings with the Chinese government. Addressing public concern about Jamaica's relationship with China, Mr. Holness says there is no need to fear the volume of investments and loans from the Asian giant.
The government of Jamaica has been very strategic, and the sovereignty of Jamaica is always foremost in my mind. So when we engage with that as a non-negotiable part of the partnership.
During Wednesday's handing over of the Jamaica-China Goodwill Infant School, Mr. Holness said it would not be prudent for Jamaica to avoid engaging with the world's second-largest economy. But he insisted that government was ensuring that the country benefited from the relationship through tangible projects to support development. The Ministry of National Security will be undertaking a comprehensive review of the parole process within the Department of Correctional Services. The directive comes from the National Security Council following a meeting chaired by Prime Minister Andrew Holness recently. During that meeting, the security forces raised concerns about parole being granted to offenders whose release had been assessed as being contrary to the public interest given the magnitude of their criminal records. In response, the National Security Council instructed that strong interim measures be considered until the review process had been completed. The Prime Minister-led body said persons eligible for parole should receive due consideration within a framework that does not compromise public safety. For his part, Mr. Holness said his government's foremost priority remained the assurance of community safety while supporting the process of rehabilitation and reintegration of reformed prisoners back into the society. Starting mid-2019, $54 million will be spent by the National Housing Trust, NHT, to facilitate research on bamboo as a possible housing material. The project will be carried out in phases. The first will involve testing local strains of bamboo, while the second phase will concentrate on the construction of bamboo prototypes. Senior General Manager of Construction and Development at the NHT, Donald Moore, tells JIS News that the interest in bamboo stems from the fact that it is a strong material with the possibility of reducing housing costs.
Bamboo, the world over, is used as a building product. And we want to be able to benefit as much as possible from that, inclusive of the fact that it is stronger than steel, the tensile strength.
The Bamboo Research Project is a collaborative effort of the Bamboo Industry Association of Jamaica, Bureau of Standards Jamaica, and the Planning Institute of Jamaica. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
From ska to rocksteady, reggae and dancehall, Jamaica's music continues to impact the world. And this year, the 8th staging of the JIS Heritage Competition celebrates our vibrant and dynamic musical heritage. Students aged 9 to 12 enter the essay competition. Write 500 words on the topic, "How has Jamaican music contributed to the country's growth and development?" Secondary level students enter the poster competition with digital or illustrated pieces. And tertiary level participants, the photo competition is for you. The topic for the poster and photo competition is Jamaica's Music, the stage for growth and development. For additional information on the competition rules and submission requirements, visit the JIS website at jis.gov.jm. Email heritageessay@jis.gov.jm. Heritage Poster at jis.gov.jm or Heritage Photo at jis.gov.jm or call 876-926-3590 The deadline has been extended to Sunday, November 4. Prizes and surprises await you in the 2018 Jamaica Information Service Heritage Competition.
It's been 11 months.
7 years.
12 years.
Since I became the most important person in the world.
It's a big responsibility to know that her future is in our hands.
I have to tell him and show him that he is my number one. I want to prepare them for life's journey. So as them grow, them know the difference between right and wrong.
I gotta make sure we keep him out of bad company. Because if I don't raise him right, the streets are gonna raise him.
I feel, she feel.
If me stumble, him fall. Knowing I'm responsible for their future and they're responsible for Jamaica's future.
So I won't give up or allow her to quit.
I gotta make sure I'm safe on the straight and narrow.
Me prefer to tell them no now than watch them regret it later.
Because to the world, I'm just another person. But to my child, I'm the whole wide world.
As we observe Parent Month, the National Parenting Support Commission is coordinating activities around planned parenthood, substance abuse, and corporal punishment. Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Carr, has the details.
National Parent Month is being celebrated in November this year under the Be the Influence theme. The theme continues from last year as we launched a 3-year campaign. This year, we have aligned the theme to 3 topical issues. These issues, we believe as a commission, has persisted throughout the year. They are planned parenthood, substance abuse, and corporal punishment. We have associated 3 tags to each of those issues. So for Planned Parenthood, we say prepare, partner, plan. We are concerned about the number of parents who are opting out, not wanting to continue the duties associated with parenting. The fact of the matter is, once you're a parent, you can't opt out. You're a parent for life. And we are seeing too many parents who are also willing to give up their children to the state. The second issue is substance abuse, and the tagline for that is explain, encourage, support. We believe that parents must have the conversations with their children, explaining why the over-the-counter drugs that are easily accessible should not be used. That is on the radar because children continue to use the cough syrups to get a high. If parents are being the influence, then they're going to have these conversations before we get to a point where children become addicted to these substances. Now, the third one is corporal punishment. Now, we know that this practice is perhaps entrenched in our culture. It doesn't mean that it is correct. We have to get to a point where we are supporting our children with positive parenting practices. This certainly does not include beating. So we want you to strike a conversation, not your child. One of our concerns, especially with corporal punishment, is that beating is usually done out of frustration. All parents who practice this will tell you, I did not mean to hurt my child, except beating is a violent act, and it does hurt. We begin Parent Month with a launch on November 1. And then on November 5th, 6th, and 12th, we will have in select schools across regions 1, 2, and 6 presentations and workshops. On November 7th, 14th, and 21st, we will have mass parenting workshops, and these will be supported by the National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica. That is a very strong partner of the National Parenting Support Commission. And then on the 10th of November, we have the first National Parenting Village. This year, we're going to have 3 parenting villages. The first on the 10th in Ocho Rios, the second on the 17th in Montego Bay, and the third will be in St. Elizabeth. The venues will be communicated at a later date. And so we are encouraging parents to come out to each of the villages because you will be guaranteed to get information that will help you to improve your practice, and information that you can pass on to your neighbors, to your friends, and even to your children as a plan for parenthood.
This is the Aedes aegypti mosquito that spreads the Zika, chikungunya, and dengue viruses. Search for its breeding sites and destroy them. A message from the Ministry of Health.
The top 5 designs to determine the look of the new Parliament building were unveiled recently. This completes Phase 1 of the Houses of Parliament Design Competition. Here's a closer view as the architects share the concepts of their designs.
It's been a long time coming, but we know, yes we know, change gonna come.
Change is gonna come. And that's how I feel.
That change is the new Parliament building being designed by Jamaican architects. 5 finalists are contending for the coveted position of producing the ultimate design.
Architect Ravi Sital, Evan Williams, Stephen Facey, Gwyneth Anderson, and our 5th finalist is Damian Edmond.
They each walked away with $2 million for their designs, which were chosen from 24 entries. This completes Phase 1 of the Houses of Parliament Design Competition, which was launched on May 17.
5 finalists now have an opportunity to further refine their designs and submit 3D renderings and further details by December 18th this year.
We caught up with the architects to get their reactions on being in the top 5 and also their concepts of their drawings.
Oh, we're excited! We're so happy.
We're very elated, the team, myself, especially that we're a team under 40, young architects.
We are so excited. Wow!
It's a wonderful feeling to be a part of this whole celebration and also to take part in this competition.
I'm pleased that they felt ours was one of those 5.
Everybody has to explain what Jamaica means to us. After that, the concept started building. We wanted a Jamaica which is a parliament going to be utilized by everybody as by the ministers. That's why we call it the veranda.
We decided to design a building which was essentially centered around community. The theme for the building is actually Ubuntu, which essentially means I am because we are. And so the building is organized as a larger community which talks about taking care of each other.
The whole motto, out of many one, inspired the building form and the building functions. It's very three-dimensional in terms of ventilation. In other words, I've tried to use the landscape as much as possible by creating not only this grand entry, which is the grand veranda, which you will notice. There is also skylights that bring in natural light to the main access ways through the building.
We're looking forward to developing a product which our Jamaican people will be very proud of. It is inclusive and it's integrated, as well as giving the government an exciting national symbol of the Parliament building. And for that, we actually came up with a concept of the lignum vitae flower. So our building is like a lignum vitae flower sitting in the park garden.
Jamaica has a rich and diverse culture, and both music, dance, architecture. And what influenced our design is the veranda, which is, everyone knows around Jamaica that it's a unique architectural element to Jamaica. And what we have here is a large homogeneous roof which covers this large area, which is what we refer to as the veranda, where ideas can be exchanged and people meet and greet.
I want to thank the jury for an outstanding effort over these last few months. And then I have had the luck and privilege of seeing all of your work, but I'm telling you that it's outstanding.
These designs will be on exhibitions across the island until December, so follow us on rjaparliament.com for viewing information. But for now, it's back to the drawing board once again for the architects who will produce a comprehensive functional prototype of their designs.
The public will have access to view the more detailed designs by way of another exhibition that will run through January and February of 2019.
Announcement of the overall winner will be in early 2019. This Houses of Parliament design competition is being executed as a joint effort of the Government of Jamaica and is being coordinated by the UDC. To learn more about the work of the Urban Development Corporation, call 876-656-8031 or visit their website at udcja.com. You may also follow them on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, or visit their information center on the ground floor, Kingston Mall, downtown Kingston.
Hurricanes can strike at any time. In the event of one, be prepared to act quickly. If a hurricane watch or warning has been issued, review your home disaster response plan. Map out likely routes to evacuate if your home is at risk, and confirm with relatives or friends you plan to stay with. Also, confirm the location of the nearest shelter. Check your emergency supplies and restock if necessary. Remember, disasters do happen, so be prepared.
Up next, why knowing the difference between a flash flood watch or warning can be a matter of life and death.
every month of the year, there has been in our history some incidents of flooding that has taken place in some aspect of the country. And that is something that we have to take note of. Apart from monitoring and giving the forecast, we are also responsible for warnings. And so there are some warnings that we want you to take special heed to if you consider yourself to be vulnerable in any situation. When we speak about a flash flood watch, it means that there is a feature, some kind of weather system that is going to produce enough rainfall that makes it possible for you to get flooding. So it means start to watch, because the water levels are going to be increasing and there is the possibility of the flooding. Now, if we start to see that in some area flooding has started to occur, or if we believe that the flooding has been so close to an area that it is going to happen in that area in a short space of time, we will escalate that flash flood watch and refer to it as a flash flood warning. So when we talk about a flash flood warning, it means not only that the flooding is possible, but the flooding either has already started to happen or is going to happen in a very short space of time because it is very close to that area. So it is important to know what the watch means as opposed to what the warning means. Usually with the warning, we will not only issue a warning, but we will also tell you what kind of actions are important or what you should not do. Like, do not go through flooded waterways because it could pose a risk to your life and to your property. Also, if you live in low-lying or flood-prone areas, if it is an area that is regularly experiencing flooding, a flash flood warning for your area would mean that now is the time to move to higher ground because the flooding has already started or is going to happen very shortly. It is also important for us to know where we live, because sometimes in our messages we might not refer to the actual town, but we will tell you what part of the country the flood watch or the flood warning is relevant to. So if we talk about central parishes, we are referring to Clarendon. We're also talking about Manchester. We're also talking about St. Anne. These are central parishes. So you have to be knowledgeable of where you live so that you know whether the message actually applies to you. The messages that we issue for hurricanes and tropical storms are watches and warnings as well, like the flooding. But in this case, for a tropical storm or a hurricane, when we issue a watch, it means the conditions that are associated with the storm or the hurricane are possible within a certain time frame. If you hear tropical storm or hurricane watch, you could get the impact of that system within a day and a half, 36 hours. If we mention that it is a tropical storm or a hurricane warning, it means that you only have 1 day before that thing can affect you. So we are moving to how quickly you need to make sure that you are prepared by naming it a watch or a warning. So the watch is the first level of the alert that there is something that is likely to affect you. But when we move to a warning, it means now is the time to batten down because you most likely are going to experience that storm or hurricane. We might have a tropical wave, which is the least of them, in that it can still cause a lot of rain and it can still cause flooding and devastation, but it will not have very strong winds associated with it. But then there is the tropical depression that is a little stronger because now you have winds that are moving with it, gusty winds, and it also has a lot of rainfall. Then you have tropical storms, which is a more severe kind of tropical depression because the winds are even stronger. And then if it gets even stronger, it could become a hurricane. So it's important that you have your radio and that your radio is battery controlled, not dependent on electricity, so that you can hear the warning messages that come from the meteorological service. Also bear in mind that if you dial 116, you will be able to hear the latest message coming out of the meteorological service related to any warnings. We cannot stop paying attention. We cannot let down our guard. You have to prepare yourself and stay prepared until we are out of the threat.
I say be careful what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister. She could be the next prime minister.
Sexual abuse is always a very difficult thing to confront, particularly when the alleged victim is a child. Parents, if it is that you suspect that your child has been sexually abused or is in a vulnerable set of circumstances where an abuse may occur, we encourage you to have dialogue with your child. Take the child to the pediatrician who normally attends to the child. If there is no such pediatrician, take your child to the clinic, to the hospital, to some medical practitioner who can do an assessment for you. It's very important as well that we don't just look at the physical side, but we also seek to find the kind of psychosocial support that a child may need. Does the child need a session with a counselor? Does the child need to speak with a pastor who is used to dealing with these issues? Does the child need to get that ongoing psychological support to assist with the healing process and also to assist the child in becoming strong enough, as it were, to deal with the various processes that will follow once it is that you suspect an abuse has occurred? If it is that the child actually discloses when you engage the child in discussion that, yes, mommy and daddy, I was abused, we encourage you to entertain the child, to listen to what the child has to say to you, and to take it very seriously. So we really urge you to have those discussions and to seek guidance in terms of, do I speak to the police about this, which we always say you have to. Because once a child has been sexually abused, it's a criminal matter, and it means that once at all possible, the child should be assisted to go through the processes so that the perpetrator can in fact be held accountable. Support your child and let them understand in very clear terms that they are not the cause or the reason for this abuse having been perpetrated. But the most important element is to support them, get them access to the services that they need, and give them a chance to have you give them that listening ear. For these tips and of course any other information that deals with children, that is anyone under 18 years, please feel free to contact the Office of the Children's Advocate. We're at 72 Harbour Street, downtown Kingston, and our numbers are 948-1134, or website www.oca.gov.jm. Thank you.
Watch what you teach your little children. Make sure I know something to hurt them. Mind what you saying to my sister, cause she could be the next prime minister.
As we close today's show, we ask that you stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.